Hello and a warm welcome to the show. This is Pulse of Culture here on TVP World. I'm Stalia Stremska. Since its opening in the fall of 2024, the Museum of Modern Art in Warsaw has been the subject of intense public debate and social media controversies. Critics have derided it as little more than an empty space. Now the wait is over. The museum's first major exhibition, entitled The Impermanent, 4 takes on the collection, has finally opened. To discuss the long and often bumpy road to get here, I have Józefina Bartyzel and Marta Bartkowska from the museum's communications department joining me here today. Hello and welcome, delighted to have you with us.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
So let's get to the gist of all these controversies and storms on social media, of course starting with the building itself. It has been compared to many things, including home appliances. What was your reaction to this, well, I wouldn't say criticism, but I mean, you know, these various opinions?
Mm-hmm. Well, we decided to embrace that and to actually focus on what that means in terms of welcoming to the building. The truth is, yes, there was an intense debate on social media, which we were not avoiding. We were actually trying to respond with some sort of sense of humor at the time. We understand the criticism comes from the fact that it's a new building and it has been built in a really important space, and we understand that as a privilege. And obviously, since this is a building that was inspired by modernism, which has not been that prominent in Poland over the last years, that may spark a debate. We realize that it is actually working in favor of MSN, because the whole conversation about the building was actually a chance for us to also express what we feel about it, what's the origins of the project, how it's going to work with the art. So what we did, not only we actually were able to somehow be in a dialogue with our communities, which is always amazing, but also we decided to do an opening that is going to be consisting of 2 parts, I would say. Firstly, we opened the building and we invited everyone to see the space. We did a lot of events and exhibitions about what it is and how it works and how it's going to be hosting the collection of the museum. And then we finally just recently opened the amazing exhibition of the collection of the museum.
Was it a conscious choice to go with this, sort of shape and style of the building? You've mentioned that modernism is no longer popular in Poland.
The idea to build this building in such a way and to build it from these materials that were chosen was a conscious choice, and it was, on one hand, a tribute to Warsaw's modernism, but also an idea to calm the area down, to have this building as a space for new symbols, for new interactions. And we do understand, as Józefina was saying, that this may be something that raises questions, as it is different and it is a change. And it has been our experience that making changes in public spaces always raises questions. Sometimes I wouldn't even say controversy. I would say that it's just something is very new here, and this change has not happened in over 60 years. So I do understand, and it actually makes me really happy, I would say, that people really want to discuss, that they're not, that they don't pass this building and say nothing has changed, that they notice the difference.
Absolutely. And what about the interior? Because it provides a great background, right, for all these artworks.
It actually does, and I think that one of the amazing things about the building is, and we've been having this experience with our audiences, is it's one thing to actually see it from the outside and how it resonates with the Palace of Science and Culture and how it as Marta said, how it's actually somehow rooted in a calm and peaceful way in a space. But also when you enter that and then you realize how much of the light it actually is being filled with, how it works and how it resonates with what is going on the sky above it, that is actually a completely different experience. And we've been seeing people falling in love with the building while seeing how it works inside. There's also a beautiful central staircase, which is like the heart of the building, that makes people socialize and also gives you a different perspective to see Warsaw, which is also very important to us as we are being Warsaw-based, and this is a part of our identity. But to answer your question about the artworks, well, the design of the building is deliberately constructed in a way that we actually have a set of different rooms, and each room is different from another, so that we can work with different pieces from the collection and to be able to curate whether it's going to be an intimate space or a monumental one. And we also have 2 levels of gallery floors, which means that the upper one is actually using a lot of daylight, which is obviously being filtered due to the safety of the artworks. However, that building, as Thomas Pfeiffer has mentioned many times, is a vitrine of light of Warsaw. And the different sizes of the rooms enable us to work with the collection in an amazing way. And also, when you go around the floor, which is something you can do, you are welcome to spend time in city rooms that are actually wooden, amazing and quiet, and you can see the outdoor and you can have a moment to rest. So there are so many opportunities.
It is quite impressive, especially as one is walking around.
The idea was to host an exhibition. Most of the museums that have their own collection also exhibit a permanent collection, an impermanent exhibition. And the idea was to play with the word of permanence, to actually give a sense of a constant discussion and constant movement of ideas, symbols, meanings. So on one hand, this is the impermanent exhibition, as it will not be held forever. It will be held for over 6 months, and then it will be changed into a different one. But on the other hand, it's also the idea to say that the meanings and ideas are in constant change, and they are always negotiated, and they are negotiated inside the world of art, but it's also a negotiation between the audience and the author and the curator, and that sense of dialogue that we wanted to create, that we wanted to give the space to interpret on your own, was the main aim of this exhibition.
Right, and some of the themes that you bring up, could you shed more light on that, especially perhaps the gender aspect, which is featured prominently?
Joe.
We are exhibiting artworks that were actually created in between the end of the Cold War and as of today. So we span over 7 decades, and the aim of that exhibition was also to present the variety of medium that artists work with, different perspectives on the same topic. Hence, we divided the exhibition into 4 chapters that you can follow. And obviously, as Marta mentioned, we invite our audiences to be in a constant dialogue with us. So these are the 4 chapters we are offering. There might be many more, and each one of us can actually choose the way they're going to see the exhibition, whether it's going to be following only Polish artists or women artists or queer artists. And yes, the gender situation and the dialogue that has been around it, this is something that artists also reflect on. So some of the artists are actually working with themes that they find interesting, important, or somehow being marginalized. And as the art institution, the decision of us is to always stand behind the artist and behind the human being. So if that is a part of a conversation that is going on, we feel obliged to actually also exhibit that. However, the exhibition that is actually showcasing over 150 artworks. So it is also for us to choose which path do we follow. There is no necessity to see all. There's always a choice, and the choice is also given to the audiences. So we feel like we are showing the variety of themes, topics, artworks, and we are actually absolutely eager to discussing those but we also give the freedom to our audiences to see and perceive that as they find it important.
Right, and it's a very small sample, right, from all the artworks that you have, 4,300 if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
So only 150 on display. But who is your target audience?
Do we have like 3 hours? We are thinking about our audiences very broadly. We've been researching on who is actually coming to MSN for the last 8 years, if not longer. And we know we have the enthusiasts of art that actually are coming back to see every single exhibition. But it is important to us to actually broaden the audiences. And we know that being centrally organized and centrally located, we really want to address the needs and cultural experiences that we're going to deliver to as many people as possible. So we closely work with audiences that actually are, for example, kids and young adults. This is the educational section. We are very happy to be able to host senior audiences, that we actually also have a society of senior fans of MSN that is very important to us. But we also understand that the museum as such doesn't have to be a place where you come to spend 2 hours like going one exhibit after another. It can be also a space where you want to have a coffee, wait for your bus to arrive. We're just next to the central railway station. If you want to charge your phone, if you want to buy some books, if you just want to spend the time in the publicly accessible and free ground floor, then this is fine for us.
I think that what is also very important for us is that we really would like to make the museum as part of a common experience, which is an experience very similar to what you experience in the Western Europe or across the world, that you don't really need to have this really deep knowledge of art history to have a pleasurous walk around the exhibitions. And it's also very important for us to have different perspectives, different levels of how we communicate, of what we talk about and what we can experience in the museum. I think that's the main focus, to make the audience feel at home.
Right, and sort of, the way you're creating this dialogue with your audience, is it working? I mean, how many people are visiting the museum? Is it getting more and more popular?
Oh, we've had this discussion for many months, preparing for the opening, and we've, as a museum with a long history, as this museum has been working for over 18 years now, we had the idea that moving to the central square, the audience will definitely broaden and will be a higher number. During the first 3 weeks of the opening in the fall, the number has reached over 300,000 people. Those were the numbers of people in the audience that came into the building, to see the building and to see the 3 small but very deeply curated exhibitions. And for the first 3 days of the current exhibition, we have already hosted over 1,200 people. So that is around 4,000 people per day, which we think is a very good number. And what is more important from the numbers is the way that the audience interacts. And what has been really melting our hearts was that the audience coming into the building, they were reading really deeply into all the materials that they were given. They were asking questions, and they stayed in the museum for over an hour. So this was the experience that we were counting on, and the interaction in the social media and their interaction with the department dealing with the audience is also very, very well, I would say, embracing our deepest expectations.
I guess congratulations are in order, as everything is going according to the plan, if I understood you correctly. Thank you so much for joining us for this talk today. Józefina Bartyzel and Marta Bartkowska, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
And thank you for watching Pulse of Culture. Please stay tuned for more here on TVP World. And of course, if you want to visit the museum, the exhibition is open Tuesday to Sunday, 8 a.m. till 8 p.m., right?
That is correct.